Hey, what is going on, guys? My name is D Free, and today I'm joined by Real to Real. Now, Mark, I know you've noticed in your time being a part of the Dragon Ball community, just like I have, and just about like everybody Dragon Ball YouTuber, every other Dragon Ball YouTuber has noticed at this point. Obviously, with Dragon Ball Super, they're retelling the Resurrection F and Battle of Gods movies, and a lot of people initially were really hyped for a new series whenever it was announced, but then, they kind of got let down and disinterested a little bit as time has progressed with seeing that they're retelling something that we've already seen. A lot of people take that as essentially like a slap to the face. So I wanted to kind of pretty much just do this video to kind of, say, hey, what's going on, guys? It's not a problem if somebody wants to go about retelling the story. So why don't you go ahead and give your thoughts first, and I'll come back with mine, all right?
Yeah. First of all, unlike a lot of people, I do, like you, have seen a lot of those people kind of chime in about, oh, it's not original, this stuff isn't original, we need something better. Honestly, I don't have a problem with it. I actually really love what Super's trying to do by expanding these stories that were basically put into a 90-minute format, and now we have essentially 4.5 hours of footage and story that was told for this. Might have felt a little stretched, but I actually really like that. And before we go any further in this, not that I'm a huge expert in all this stuff, but what a lot of people might not know is in Dragon Ball, a lot of people might not know the original series, Dragon Ball, not Dragon Ball Z, GT, or anything like that, actually has 4 movies. And those movies, although they were released after the initial manga and anime adaptations, are retellings, or at least 2 of them are retellings of the events in Dragon Ball. Those being The Mystical Great Adventure and The Path of Ultimate Strength. If you haven't checked those out, they're really cool. They kind of do what Super is doing in the same sense, whereas they, instead of telling an expanded story over the course of several episodes, they've condensed a bigger story into a span of 90 minutes or less. So basically what I'm saying there is, this stuff isn't new to Dragon Ball. It's something that we've seen before. It's something that I'm pretty sure we can all kind of get around. This idea of having not only the series, the new manga coming out, and all these movies like Battle of Gods and Fukatsu no F. I actually really like it as a fan because when you look at it that way, you have 3 different mediums to actually ingest a story. And as a fan, I couldn't be happier with that.
Yeah, precisely. And I completely agree with you. I think that it's great having different avenues to go down. If you wanted to, ingest the story a certain way, you could watch the anime, you could watch the movies, you could read the manga that they're doing. I think that's great. But like I said, it's really weird because a lot of people were incredibly hyped for it. And obviously that's how everybody's going to be, 18 years, new series, great. But then, when they found out, okay, we're going to be retelling Battle of Gods, Resurrection F, it's like, well, why are they doing this? These movies are pretty new. They've been out. One of them just came out. Actually, at that time, I don't know. It had literally just been coming out in the theaters. Actually, Resurrection F, I'm talking about. Battle of Gods been out for a couple years now. It's like it's not like it's something old that they're rewriting. So a lot of people were kind of not down with that idea. And I personally am like, well, like I was telling you, I don't think that it's a problem if, Toriyama's like, hey, these movies are condensed to about less than 2 hours. Think of it this way, and this happens to me. I kind of explained this analogy already. If you're doing something and you release it and you're okay with how it turns out, but then you come back and in hindsight you have other ideas, other things you could have expanded upon, other things you wanted to do with that project, you're gonna want to touch up on it. And I feel like if Toriyama has that same mindset, he's like, hey, I wanted to initially tell this story this way. I wanted to implement this, but I couldn't because of X, Y, and Z. But now I have an opportunity where I can actually do that with this new series that Toei has been bugging me for years to do. And I'm finally going to do it. Well, I mean, it's like, well, I'm going to take that opportunity because that happens to me in a lot of my videos. I'll record them and I'll go back and I'll a few days later, maybe a couple weeks up to a month later, I'll be like, wow, I can't believe I forgot about this, or I can't believe I didn't do this or say that in this video. And it's like, it's not necessarily a problem with that, but once again, like I said, a lot of people kind of look at it as a bit of a slap to the face, and a lot of people write off the series because of that. And that's not really the right way to be. Like, if you're gonna be a part of a community, for one, you're entitled to your opinion, yes, but you've kind of got to be open-minded. Like, I think that being open-minded is just really overlooked in all aspects of life. You can't go through things with, just essentially tunnel vision, looking at things a certain way, and, coming out and not looking at things from other perspectives. So I think that in regards to it, like you said, having different ways to ingest the story of Dragon Ball, whether it's canon, whether it's not canon, whether it's the movie, it's the manga, it's the anime, whatever the case is, that's great in and of itself. But for them to read to the story and actually expand upon the movies, because between the two movies there was a time skip, there were things we didn't see. Like, for them to actually take the time to actually go back when they did not have to, they could have left those movies alone. For them to go back and say, okay, this happened in this time, this happened, that happened, this is how that happened. Like, I think that's just great, because those movies, while they were great, one of them, Resurrection F, is one of my favorite movies pretty much in general of Dragon Ball Z. They did probably leave more questions than answers at the end of the day. So I don't know. That's just pretty much how I feel about it. I feel like, if you're going to have a problem with it, you're okay. It's okay to do that. But the only problem I have is just like people that say, hey, I'm gonna wait it out until they actually get to new stuff because I've already seen the movies, and I just don't like that mindset. It's just something about that mindset that just irks me, because like I said, it's like you've got to be open-minded. And while they're retelling the stories, there are blatant contrast between the movie and the anime. They're doing things differently. The entire Beerus versus Goku fight was different in the anime than it was in the movie. The ritual was different. I believe it's better as well, and that's only because they had more time to do it. Now, like you said earlier, it did get a little bit dragged on towards the end. It could have ended an episode, maybe episode or two sooner, but I just feel like, just being able to do it a certain way, or having more time to do it a certain way, is just generally better than feeling like a rushed movie.
I'll tell you what you were saying earlier, before this video and even now. One of the best things about Super, and you're right, is these little slice of life moments. They're not filler. I don't know. I've heard people call them filler. You have too. You want to express any more about that? They're great.
Well, yeah, no, like these episodes, like the last few episodes we've been getting in Super, well, at this point, as of the recording, I think
Exactly.
I was going to stumble on my words there. But no, like, as of the recording, I think they're like episodes 15 through 17. People are calling them filler. Those type of episodes where it's like they're not fighting, so people are calling them filler because they feel like filler, just like the first couple of episodes of the series where they didn't essentially have any action. They were just kind of, showing you where the characters are at this point, and, that there's a little bit of a time that passed since the Majin Buu fight and what they're doing since then, that type of thing. They're still expanding upon the story. Like, if you look at the latest episode, while it seemed like it was filler, Pan was born. That's progress. We see what's going to happen while Goku and Vegeta are on. What we're seeing that Goku is, for one, during this time frame, Vegeta's been gone for a long time. Mark, you haven't seen this. I'm not going to try to spoil it for you yet. But no, Goku ultimately goes off to train, and that's expanding with the fight as well. I mean, with the story as well. So it's not like it's filler, but a lot of people are looking at it as filler. So they're in their eyes, it's like, well, we're getting this story retold. One, that's a negative. And the new stuff we are getting, oh, it's filler. That's a negative. So what can this series actually offer me? And it's like, oh, well, I'll just wait until we get to Universe 6. But when we get to Universe 6, you're going to have missed all these other things, and you're going to feel like you know what happens and what happened because you've seen the movies, and that's not going to be 100% the case because things have just played out differently. It's almost like saying that you've seen Dragon Ball in its entirety, or Dragon Ball in its entirety, including Dragon Ball Z, etc., but not seeing the actual initial series.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, that's kind of
really
like,
don't know.
I'm sorry. Like, that's kind of like, I've heard Geekdom even express this before, is if you haven't seen Dragon Ball, you haven't seen all of Dragon Ball.
Exactly.
And I think there's a lot of truth to that, a lot of wisdom to that, because without knowing the entire story, there's no way that you can suggest that you know the entire story, or that you understand the entire story. It's something that you just kind of, you might not like it. for anyone who doesn't, I'm really sorry, but that's kind of what I was saying earlier with there's ways to ingest this that you don't have to watch the manga, or you don't have to watch the anime. You can read the manga, you can watch the movies or something, but it's endearing to sit there and watch the anime every single week. And a lot of people, I think you and me included, there have been down moments. We can admit that there have been some down moments,
Yeah.
but we've learned to love this stuff, and it's every week. It's every week, even these slice of life moment episodes. It's exhilarating to kind of revisit old friends that we grew up with and see where they are now and how they're progressing. That's the most endearing thing about Dragon Ball to me.
Pretty much. And I enjoy it, and I think that everybody that is a Dragon Ball fan should actually give Super a chance. This isn't like, if you ever watch this video at any point, years from now or whatever the case, this isn't Dragon Damage Control or anything like that. It's just trying to give people a different perspective. We don't want everybody to just look at it the same way through the same lenses. You got to look at things a little bit differently. And if you're a Dragon Ball fan, how can you complain? Either way, just enjoy the series. We were all hyped initially. We should all still be hyped. I know that the hype has been a little bit renewed because of the preview for episode 18. Once again, I'm not going to spoil anything for you, Mark, if you haven't already heard about that. But I know the hype's been a little bit renewed because we're seeing more and more new stuff as the series goes on. So hopefully this whole issue with watching Super kind of goes away and fades away. So it was great having you on, Mark. If you guys didn't know, we actually tried to record an initial video. It was my fault. So this is actually our second video, but we'll come back and do that at some point for you guys. Be sure to check out Real to Real. His channel will be linked in the description down below. He doesn't have a whole lot of content, but he's working on it. He's got some great ideas, and he's going to be bringing more content to his channel. So is there anything else you wanted to say to kind of close us out here, man?
No, not really. Thanks for having me on.
Definitely. Sounds good. Well, guys, be sure to subscribe. Check out both of our channels if you're new here. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.